distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a special pleasure to be here to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the leading tertiary health facility in Nigeria. The management and workers at the University College Hospital Ibadan have every cause to celebrate this milestone. Oritamefa, as UCH is fondly called, has attained the status of legend, pioneering complex health procedures in Nigeria and spearheading landmark medical research of global relevance. From the beginning, the vision according to the 1952 broadcast of Sir Sydney Phillipson's Yemi was to build, I quote, a consultant medical center for the whole country, from which will go out highly qualified doctors for service throughout Nigeria, end of quote. In August 1952, the Federal House of Representatives, sitting in Lagos, passed the UCH ordinance, which established a university college for the University College Ibadan, now University of Ibadan. Construction, we're told, started in 1954, and on this day, 60 years ago, the University College Hospital Ibadan was commissioned for use. In the last 60 years, UCH has also produced some of the most accomplished and most distinguished medical personnel the world has ever seen. Let me especially recognize the first Nigerian medical doctor to be employed by the University College Hospital, and who went on to become the first emeritus professor of medicine of the University of Ibadan, and the first Nigerian in history to obtain the membership of the Royal College of Physicians, our own emeritus professor, the UCH 60th anniversary lecture. In the early 1960s, Professor Okunlesi founded the world-renowned community health project to incorporate local content into the London-oriented curriculum of the University of Ibadan. Since those early days, UCH has gone on to open new frontiers in healthcare, and it was the first medical institution in Nigeria to launch nuclear medicine services, the first to introduce palliative and hospice care services for end-of-life and chronic debilitating diseases, and the first to open a geriatric center in Africa, the Chief Geriatric Center, which began operations in 2012. And today, of course, we're opening the Kensington Adebutu Geriatric Rehabilitation Center. UCH is also responsible for pioneering interventions in heart and brain surgery in Nigeria, as well as the development of the award-winning bladder mannequin, which has been patented for use as a medical teaching aid in low-income countries. However, we must acknowledge that the last few decades have not exactly been a stellar period for healthcare in Nigeria, marked by the same tragic malaise of underfunding, neglect, and corruption that have left no aspect of our national life untouched. Medical workers know more than the rest of us that without acknowledging and diagnosing a condition, it will be difficult, if not impossible, to prescribe and implement the appropriate solutions. The sad state of affairs in our healthcare system has led to dismal levels of professional satisfaction amongst our medical personnel. And it is at the root of the alarming brain drain that has depopulated institutions such as this. While this should never have happened in the first place, we now have an incredible opportunity to fight hard to win back our best brains and to give emerging generations of our medical personnel a new reason to believe in their country and its possibilities. But first, we must create the right conditions at home by investing in infrastructure and vigorously fighting the corruption that underlies much of the decline and rot. We must also, as a matter of urgency, redefine our approach to healthcare delivery, management of healthcare institutions, and enabling the private sector a prominent place in our healthcare delivery system. As for the federal government, we have made our health policy clear. We want to offer affordable, accessible, and qualitative healthcare to all Nigerians and others irrespective of social status and location. At the heart of this vision is our goal of providing basic healthcare to all Nigerians, as this will cater to over 70% of our healthcare needs. Our primary healthcare revitalization program was personally flagged up by Mr. President at Kuchigoro, a suburb of Abuja just last year. The UCH is an important part of that narrative, complementing this initiative through its rural comprehensive health centers located at Shekwete in Oyo State and Okuku in Osun State. In addition, UCH's 4 federally funded schools responsible for training primary healthcare tutors, community health officers, nurse and midwifery tutors, and environmental health officers tutors have been meeting Nigeria's manpower training needs for decades now. And graduates of these institutions constitute the backbone of our primary healthcare and comprehensive healthcare delivery in Nigeria. I'm also pleased to note that the UCH is one of the 8 initial tertiary health facilities that the federal government will be upgrading through the investment of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, the NSIA, and I'm sure that UCH will get to do that very soon. Your Excellencies, faculty and staff of the UCH, it is on the present leadership of this great institution that the burden of attaining the vision so inspiringly set 6 decades ago now lies. But that task will require a paradigm shift in our thinking about funding and management. It is clearer by the day that government alone cannot adequately fund most of its infrastructure commitments. For the first time in almost 2 decades, we're spending as much as 30% of our budget on infrastructure. Our 2016 capital spend of 1.3 trillion naira is the highest in the nation's history. Yet we're still a long way from adequately dealing with a massive infrastructure deficit. We have to seek greater private sector funding. A well-resourced endowment program is one of such private sector funding. And it's gratifying to see that as part of the 60th anniversary celebrations, UCH is also launching an endowment fund. The challenge is in ensuring that management and administration of the fund is resourced with the capacity to aggressively and creatively grow the endowment. Aside from philanthropy, there are important linkages that must be established with commerce and industry that may encourage the private sector to actively support the clinical research and teaching functions of the hospital. Collaboration is the tested strategy of the future. Fortunately, UCH itself has a long history of being involved in game-changing collaborations. More than 50 years ago, the Ibadan Community Program was a joint effort of the University of Ibadan, the government of the Western Region, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, and the London School of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, and the community itself. We must now create similar partnerships locally and nationally. It's not clearer than ever before that the private sector is the key to settling the institution funding needs. The discipline of justifying funds given which the private sector will bring will be important in the prudent management and effective use of those funds. And I must commend the management of the hospital for adopting public-private partnership initiatives in many areas of service delivery. Our ultimate funding plan as a government is a comprehensive retooling of the National Health Insurance Scheme. And we fully appreciate that there is no way of effectively funding healthcare for a nation that will have the 4th largest population in the world by 2050 without a fully operational National Health Insurance Scheme. As we commemorate this 60th anniversary of this very distinguished institution, I'd like us to take a moment to look into the future, to create in our minds a picture of what we would like to see in the next 60 years of UCH. I was excited to hear Professor Emeritus Ukulesi project to a UCH of 40 years hence. But let us today just begin with what the next decade might look like. UCH will undoubtedly be a global center of excellence, staffed by highly motivated personnel, producing cutting-edge, commercially viable research that helps to underwrite a large chunk of its funding needs. The picture of UCH 2027 must necessarily incorporate the emerging technologies that are already defining every robotics, data science, and the Internet of Things. There's a strong possibility that the UCH of 2027 will require on its payroll as many software engineers as medical personnel. The sophistication that will be required to run hospitals there will compel us to exit the approach of burdening the academics with hospital management, which, as we know, is rarely a distinct professional discipline. In this exciting new future, real-time partnerships with centers of excellence around the world will be crucial, and so investment in broadband infrastructure will be a massive game changer. That future is already here. Finally, may I once again congratulate the management and staff of the University College of Ibadan for this milestone commemoration, and join you all in looking forward to an even greater 60 years ahead. I thank you all for listening. God bless you. UCH. God bless you.